Hey everyone, I'm Ishan Sharma. In this video, I'm talking about the interesting case study of how Ankur Warikoo bootstrapped his education startup to close to 200,000 students and an annual recurring revenue of $2.5 million in a span of just 12 months. I feel like the audience that I have are interested into business and marketing, and this is a really interesting case study. So I thought of sharing with you exactly what worked for Ankur and what we can all learn from this particular case study. Make sure that you watch till the end. Ankur is someone that has taught me a lot about personal finance, about productivity, about business in general. I even got to interview him twice on my channel, and there's just a lot that I have learned from him in the past 2 years. Particularly today, we're talking about his courses and the ads that you would have already seen on YouTube and elsewhere. So in January of this year, the courses generated a $200,000 revenue, making it a $2.5 million ARR business. Let's try to understand how did this all happen. Number one, he used his content as a trust engine and not as a sales engine. This is a really interesting mindset. Most people who are creators or who have a following would naturally just come on the channel or on their account and they would just say that, hey, I have this XYZ course, you can buy it, link in description, or whatever way they use. In his case, he genuinely tried to provide as much value as possible on his channel 3 times a week, just trying to help people as much as he can and never even mentioning about the course that he has. That, I think, helped him gain authenticity in the community that he was able to build at the very end. He then targeted people on YouTube with his ads. The interesting part was that on a normal month, he would be gaining about 13 million views and his ads would be doing about 25 million views. Now, if you're thinking, how does this all really matter? Use it for trust or use it for selling the course? Well, here's a really interesting insight. The conversion rate of his landing page is at 7%, which is decent for most landing pages on average. But if you look at the people who did not buy his course, went to look him up, see his content, develop trust, and then go back to make the purchase, the conversion rate of that segment of the audience is 36%. Now that's a huge number for any landing page out there. And that was only possible because the audience went back to his content, developed trust, and then proceeded with buying the course. Moving on, instead of hiring a team of developers who would be helping him with all the tech, he ended up using no-code tools, tools like Razorpay. For example, you have Freshworks, you have ConvertKit, you have Zoom, you have Calendly, and so many other ones. This saves you with not having to hire labor. You don't have to hire your own developer team. You can just use these no-code tools and you will be able to very well do all the operations yourself. That's what we try to follow at MarketUp as well. Use as many no-code tools as possible so that we can automate the workflows and we can get things done faster. Then let's take a look at the advertising return on investment, also called as return on ad spend, ROAS. It basically means that for every single rupee that you are putting into an ad, what type of a return are you able to generate from that? And it obviously has to be more than one because that's how you will make it profitable, right? So he talks about how he likes to have a return of at least 1.8 to 2. So that basically means for every 1 rupee, he wants to get a return of 1.8 to 2 rupees. So they basically experiment with having various different ads. आपने बहुत सारे different ad campaigns देखे होंगे उनके, and the ones that did not work were actually the ones that were generating comparatively lesser ROI for him, lesser ROAS for him. So that's basically how it works. I hope that you are able to learn something from this video. If you are, make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe to this channel as well. Now let's take a look at the next part, which is lean operations. He only has one full-time person who is working on all of the operations of the ads. And that is really interesting. Instead of having a whole team looking after everything, he just has one person. Instead of hiring a complete agency who takes a look at his ads, just having one person work on it is really efficient. His focus was on building assets. So he didn't want to go for those cohort-based courses, completely live courses. That takes a lot of time and effort from the side of the instructor. Instead, what he did was really interesting, right? So he gave the audience 2 options. Number 1 was a completely recorded, self-paced course, 100% recorded course that you could buy. The second option was the same course, but you also have a live Q&A session that happens every single month with Ankur. Now, according to the statistics, 65% people picked the second option, which was 80% more expensive. Even though it was higher in terms of cost, 65% people opted for going ahead with the second option, which is really interesting. Just shows how you can leverage your content as a trust engine and not as a sales engine. मैं बहुत सारे ऐसे ad देखता हूँ YouTube पे जहाँ पर एकदम random लोग जिनको मैंने कभी देखा भी नहीं है, they would just be pitching their course, वो बोलेंगे कि ये कोर्स लो, मैं पहले ऐसा था, मैं फरारी में घूमता हूँ, ऐसा कुछ. It doesn't create like a deeper trust level with that person, and that doesn't give you great ROI. Versus when you have content and use that as a trust engine, then people would be a lot more willing to understand what you are doing and want to be a part of whatever product you release. His goal was offering pure value to help students as much as possible, and that's why they also have an unconditional 100% refund policy. And the interesting part was that even though you could anytime just refund for the course, only 4.4% people asked for a refund. And that is really nice because, you know, in this age, if you have a recorded course, it's anytime available on Telegram and all, but people are still willing to just pay for the course from the original place itself. That just shows that people have the trust and people think that the course is worth it, right? So that's a really interesting insight. Also, he was patient in this whole process. He didn't really have investors. He didn't really have targets that they wanted to hit every single quarter. They didn't really have goals of that sort. So they could focus and iterate and see what's really working and try to build a fundamentally strong business. They also focused on over delivering as much as possible by offering people new content every 3 months in every single course that they signed up for. That just means that there's going to be a lot more content even after you've purchased it one time. Their goal is on iterating as much as possible. So they are launching a new course every 6 months. They started out with the startup course, then the time management one, and now how to YouTube course. And their goal is to launch 10 of these courses and build like a $50 million to $100 million business, which is really interesting and something that is achievable because their fundamentals are strong, right? वो बोलते हैं ना कि नींव पक्की होनी चाहिए. Because they're focusing on creating trust, offering pure value and not focusing on revenue targets or funding or anything like that, they can properly focus on building something great and long lasting from scratch. So that was the case study of how Ankur Warikoo built a 18 crore per year business. And this is without taking any funding, working with really interesting people, creating wealth for everyone, doing it on their own pace and meaningfully trying to help students as much as possible. I found this to be a really nice and interesting strategy. Let me know what do you think about this. Also, the best part was that they built it bootstrapped. No need to, raise crazy amounts of funding. These days, it's very, lucrative. It looks very shiny when you look at those $100 million valuations, companies raising $100 million of Series A rounds and, just having crazy valuations. You also feel like the only way to succeed is to raise funds and that will be the end all be all. But that's not the only way. And that's what they have proven. That's what I am also trying to do with my own business, that is Market Up, trying to build something that's truly fundamentally strong like a business and growing that over the next 4 to 5 years. So that was the story of Ankur Warikoo. If you have any questions about whatever I discussed, let me know in the comment section. If you want to know more about my business, you can check out this video. And if you want to know ways to make money, then you can check out this video right here. That's all from me. If you want to learn more about such things, subscribe and share this video with your friends. And I'll see you in the next one.